You know this drum beat, even if you think you don't. Whether it's a classic example like Bernard Purdie, or Harvey Mason, or something you'd see on Zildjian Underground. Give it to the drummer, give it to the drummer, give it to the foot. What? Now that's just rude. Anyway, you want to play this beat because it's so funky, but maybe the technique is getting in the way. The whole droppy catchy thing. And we're gonna get into that. But the other amazing thing about these beats is they're a great thing to practice even if you're never gonna play them. I'm gonna show you some exercises that'll make your playing stronger all around. So even if you're doing linear stuff, or soloing, or playing hard rock, your feel and groove will be better. Stay tuned. Guys, just a quick public service announcement that if you want a transcription of all the exercises in this lesson, you do not have to transcribe it yourself. We've done it for you, and you can grab the transcription completely free by clicking the link below the player. Anywho, onto the lesson. Let's start in the middle with the most simple incarnation of this beat, then work backwards. Okay, so that's the basic drop catch beat without any embellishments, and when you play it like that, it should be funky. We'll talk about how to get it there, but first, it's really just this. Or it's just the rock beat, except you've got this. And that little extra thing that's a little extra technique is what we're going to focus on next. So it's this little issue of the drop catch that's going to hold us up if we don't understand this technique a little better. So, remedial drop catch lesson. So when I first learned this drop catch technique, I learned some extraneous ridiculousness, like having to extend my fingers unnaturally to get the stick to its full range of motion. You don't need any of that. Maybe if you're trying to be an extreme drumstick athlete or something, but what we need this technique to do for us is twofold. Number one, we want control over the articulation. So if we want it unaccented, we can play it as evenly as we want. Number two, we want it relaxed, so we're not getting tired over the course of playing this beat on a whole gig. Those are the only two things we need it to do for us. So let's talk about how to do that. I'm going to show you an exercise where actually you're catching from the drop catch on the downbeat. So it goes like this. 3, 4. Okay, let me outline for you where you're dropping it. 3, 4. Okay, and I'll play it with accents on the drop so you can hear it a little clearer. 3, 4. But eventually we want to get that to where it's even, so it sounds more like this. 3, 4. Want to make it more difficult? Play each hand for an entire bar. 3, 4. Next, we move it over to the hats, and we reverse the drop catch so that the drop is now happening on the downbeats. So 3 E into 4 E into. And we put the kick drum on quarters. So 3 E into 4 E into. Now, let's talk about how to practice this in a real beat context. So when you practice this, you can start slow to medium-ish tempo and just practice the basic beat. You can also give your right hand periodic breaks, like this. where you're resting for an eighth note or a quarter note. And that's perfectly valid. You might do that anyway within your beat. Now, let's get a little metaphysical. And I want you to bring it in. Because this is slowish, it's also an opportunity to practice really putting the beats in the right place. Okay, this is too close. What I mean is, when you play with a metronome, there's a good enough, this kind of sloppy. And then there's really nailing it, where you're right in the center of the beat and everything's lined up. Instead of thinking of this as one beat, think of it as 16 separate beats. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the number of 16ths in a bar, and try to have the attention to detail to make every 16th its own beat. Once you've gotten the basics under your hands, you can move on to some cool embellishments. Now, let's look at some of the classic ways to embellish. First, you have the hip-hop-ish, Zildjian Underground-ish, Bernard Party-ish kick stuff. So, play a little faster. Etc., right? Next, you have the left hand offbeat stuff. So, lastly, there's this little 30-second rough thing I like, which you can use liberally, and which is also part of the idiom. So, feel free to sprinkle those in wherever you want. Finally, for you advanced guys and girls.
Bro, guys and gals, what are you, 1 billion years old?
Yeah, I'm 1 billion years old. Why, is that going to be a problem? What, do the kids these days have a better way to say that?
I'm just saying, it's the 2020s. The whole gender binary normativity thing is getting a little long in the tooth.
It's remarkably thoughtful for an alter ego I intended to be a roided up meathead.
All I'm saying is, it's a new era. We want to be sensitive to everybody.
You know what? I think we all learned something today. Anyway, for you advanced folks, let's look at a few of the ways you can use this drop catch to expand your mind. Okay, so guys, couple beats to help you use this as a way to develop your time and your coordination. And let's start with this one. 3, 4. That's number one. When we practice these, it's doing two things for us. Number one, it's helping our time because we're playing the accents on the offbeats. That tends to rush, so it'll help us rein that in, get it right in the middle. Number two, we're playing the accents on the catch of the drop catch with the lead hand, whether that's right or left. And again, that's a coordination challenge. By getting better at this, we'll be able to hear more of that kind of Corey Fonville type stuff. Let's give you another one. 3 and 4. And let's give you yet a third. The E and the 4. Admit it, you guys were feeling that last one. Anyway, as I said, if you dug this lesson, if you'd like to get a little bit deeper into it, we've made a transcription for you, a free workbook. You can get that by clicking below the player. And if you want to give me your email address on the next page, here's what I'll do for you. You'll be on my mailing list. And here's why that's important. If you've been following the channel for a hot minute, you've been checking us out, feel like you might be ready to go a little deeper, you might be ready to study with me, I recommend my course, the 80/20 Coaching Course, which is like 3 to 6 months of studying with me, all for around the price of a single lesson. Here's the thing though. We only open that up a couple times a year. Y'all who've been bugging me to open it up again know that's true. We only open it to people on my mailing list. So if you'd like to get on that list, the insiders list, and grab your transcription, just click the first button, the big orange button on the next page, enter your email address in, It'll be automatic. You get the transcription and you'll be on the mailing list. If, however, you'd like to go free and clear, no mailing list subscription, hey, I'm easy. There's another way to do it. There's another little link down there. You can click it, just get the transcription free and clear. But you'll be missing out on the mailing list. Dudes, been real. Always enjoy these. See you again in the future. Last end of the week. Now we need to go through, so there's a window speaking, then we go back to the drum speaking. Ah!